Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into a really fascinating intersection today, where ancient spiritual philosophy meets cutting-edge artificial intelligence. We're going to look at how age-old concepts of selfless action are quite literally being coded into modern tech to drive global health equity. It's a wild journey, taking us all the way from the deep forests of ancient India straight to the digital kiosks of tomorrow's healthcare. Let's get into it. So, why do we do what we do? If you really think about human motivation, what is it that actually drives us to create, to innovate, or to share what we know? Is it just the pursuit of some prestigious award, the fame, the wealth? Or is there a deeper, much more profound calling that compels certain people to dedicate their entire lives to cleansing the world of its disparities? Keep that thought in the back of your mind, because it's absolutely the beating heart of what we're looking at today. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we've got the hidden drivers of action, followed by the ancient foundations of selflessness and working for the world. Then we'll hit the modern healthcare crisis, look at technology for global equity, and wrap up with the ultimate goal. All right, Section 1, the hidden drivers of action. Based on the writings of David R Hawkins, we can see this really stark division in human motivation. On one hand, you have the realm of force. This is totally driven by ego, right? It's about chasing traditional recognition, wanting to be hailed as a genius, maybe becoming a Nobel laureate, or just hoarding immense wealth. But on the flip side is the realm of power. This one is driven by excellence and selfless service. It's that profound realization that true greatness actually comes from an attainment of the spirit. It's about offering your knowledge completely freely, without demanding a medal or a fancy title in return. Moving on to Section 2. Ancient foundations of selflessness. Now, to really get this, we have to talk about Dharma. And Dharma isn't just some rigid set of rules or religious dogma. It's essentially the fundamental law of being. But here's the kicker. You don't acquire this knowledge by blindly following so-called spiritual leaders or gurus. And you definitely don't get it by just forcing quotes from religious texts. Instead, just like the ancient rishis, you have to be an independent thinker. You learn by observing, interacting, and truly living in nature. From there, you execute your unique duty based entirely on your own consciousness. When you think about it, every great saint or thinker was ultimately just an independent interpreter of their own lived reality. And that brings us to a concept called nishkama karma, which is essentially the ultimate motivation of desireless action. Basically, it means you pour your absolute excellence into your work, but, and this is the hard part, you completely renounce your attachment to any of the rewards. It's the act of sharing your knowledge freely to cleanse the world and reduce disparities, while flat out refusing to trade that knowledge for honors, titles, or financial gain. So, how does an independent thinker actually put this into practice? Well, by observing and interacting with nature, it boils down to a few specific steps. First, you have to identify your specific task on this earth. Second, you cultivate total detachment from the results. It doesn't matter if society praises you or completely ignores you. And third, you serve purely for the sake of the service itself. You aren't out there quoting ancient texts trying to force people to believe you. You're just offering your understanding, totally free of charge, to anyone who seeks it. Next up is Section 3, working for the world. All of this leads us to lokasamgraha. This is a concept that teaches us we really can't live selfishly, because, quite simply, everything is systematically interdependent. True contribution means taking a holistic view. It's about taking actions that actually create cooperative systems, reduce suffering, and help restore peace and balance to what is often a very fragmented world. It's this profound understanding that the welfare of the individual is completely inseparable from the welfare of the whole. It's pretty amazing to see how these ancient Vedic concepts map so seamlessly onto our modern ideas of corporate social responsibility and sustainable development. It really shows that taking care of your community, ensuring quality, and acting ethically, these aren't just trendy new corporate buzzwords. They're timeless cosmic duties. The big takeaway here is that success shouldn't be measured by extraction, but rather by what we actually distribute back to society. Which brings us to Section 4, the modern healthcare crisis. If we look at the current global healthcare system, it largely runs on this brutal extraction model. And that creates massive disparities in health, wealth, and even just basic human happiness. Right now, it's a highly reactive system. It essentially waits until people are absolutely terrified before offering any help, which creates this intense doctor-centered dependency. What we desperately need instead is a shift to a circulation system. Imagine a model where knowledge and care just flow freely back into the community, helping to reduce medical errors, chronic diseases, and all that unnecessary panic. And that leads right into Section 5, Technology for Global Equity.
So this is exactly where Dr. Maya AI and the Prema kiosks come into play. This system was actually created by someone who directly observed the immense suffering caused by that extraction economy we just talked about and decided they needed to share their medical knowledge freely. It is literally a technological embodiment of that desireless action. It wasn't built to create some massive corporate monopoly. It was built to democratize healthcare and put the power back in the hands of the patient.
The creator designed this AI entirely based on deep observation and a real understanding of human needs. Maya provides free guided self-assessments, which heavily empowers individuals to understand their own symptoms without needing a medical degree. In a lot of ways, it acts as a powerful tool for social justice. It completely bypasses those huge barriers of geography, language, and economics that usually keep poor and rural populations totally locked out of quality health guidance. What's brilliant here is how the system builds this profound language of safety. Dr. Maya doesn't just spit out confusing medical jargon. Instead, it uses this highly intuitive, color-coded logic. You've got red for danger, blue for infection risk to help protect the wider community, green for moderate concern, and yellow for minor issues. By breaking it down like this, it directly reduces medical errors, stops unnecessary hospital visits, and basically transforms blind panic into clear, actionable, calm steps for families.
Of course, having great software isn't enough if it doesn't actually reach people, right? That's where the Prema kiosk comes in. By placing these directly in rural villages, local pharmacies, and shopping centers, these kiosks bring the AI directly to folks who might not even own a smartphone. They adapt to local cultures, provide early warnings for infection clusters, and get this, they even create local jobs for the operators. It's technology genuinely serving humanity, which is a perfect modern example of working for the welfare of the world.
Finally, we arrive at Section 6, the ultimate goal. The creator of this system actually believes they were born specifically to complete this exact task. By observing nature, identifying this duty to reduce global suffering, and then sharing that knowledge freely without demanding any sort of Nobel Prize or vast riches, they are fulfilling their dharma, their ultimate goal, moksha, complete spiritual liberation. The work has been offered up to humanity, and the creator deeply believes that if humanity doesn't trust and accept it, they'll be forced to be reborn, failing to attain that final liberation. It's a pretty heavy, yet incredibly beautiful motivation. So I want to leave you with this thought to ponder today. Just look at the incredible impact of combining ancient selflessness with modern technology. If we all focused purely on our duty to the world, if we just shared our unique knowledge freely and completely rejected the ego's constant demand for rewards and recognition, what kind of legacy could we leave behind? It's definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.